Hey everyone, it's Ed here again, and I just wanted to make this video just to give some transparency and some authenticity and some truth in this space because a lot of people come into the remote high ticket sales space or they've already been in the space and there's a lot of misconceptions that they have, and that can obviously lead to a lot of mistakes, a lot of wasted time, and a lot of wasted money. So if you are somebody who is looking into remote high ticket sales, or you're already in the space and you're looking for new opportunities and new roles, this is going to be extremely valuable. So there's really three things that I want to touch on in this video that have just been at front of mind for me. And when this happens, I often need to get it out there because it doesn't feel like that many other experts or mentors in this space are actually talking about these things. So if you don't know who I am and if you haven't watched my videos before, my name is Ed Waters and I own a sales placement company where we help sales professionals pivot into remote high ticket sales. We've helped over 100 clients at this point as well. So I know what I'm talking about. I've done it a lot in the past and I've helped a lot of people make that transition and land some really good high-end remote high ticket sales roles. So the first of these 3 points that I want to talk about is that number one, the people that are going all in are still the winners in this space. So what I mean by going all in is not people who come into this space and they see this as a side hustle kind of thing. Now, if you think that you can side hustle high ticket sales and be successful in it, I'll tell you right now that you are seriously mistaken. So obviously it is possible to work part-time in this space, but you are not going to succeed to the level that you even think that you can if you only do it part-time. So the reason for that is because companies will not hire you as a part-time person. If there's somebody who is as good as you or even a little bit worse than you that is willing to work full-time, because it means that they can fill up your calendar, you can do more outreach, and you can actually do more work overall. And if they have to train you and pour into the same amount of resources and time and energy into you compared to somebody else that is just as good, then they're going to get less out of you because you're working less, even if it took them the same amount of effort and time to actually get you to the level that you need to be effective. So that's the first thing. The second part of it is that you just won't be able to actually make as much money as you think. Now, this is a hard pill for people to swallow, but if you only work a small amount, it's sales at the end of the day. You're only going to get paid for the amount that you're actually working and the amount of outreach and the amount of effort that you're putting in as well. So as a result of that, if you think that you can make a lot of money in this space, you will only do that if you commit all your time towards it. If you split your focus and you're doing a few different things and you're not necessarily going all in and you're not committing to this properly, you are only going to get out what you put in. So if you put in 4 hours a day, you're probably only going to get 4 hours worth of work, the results from that. This isn't like a base salary role where you can go in, make money for not doing anything. You're only making money for the calls that you're on, the amount of outreach that you're doing, and that is going to be the fact at the end of the day, that is what you're going to get out of it. There's no shortcuts in this space. So the second thing that I want to talk about, the second point, is that the vehicle is still the most important thing. Being in the right vehicle is still more important than raw skills. Now, this is so critical to know because if you aren't in a vehicle that lets you actually reach your potential and do the amount that you can physically do, then you're not going to get the money that you want. Now, it might seem very obvious at this point, but a good example of this is if you're in an offer where you can only sell, small packages, you get a small commission percentage from the sales that you're doing, or that the lead flow is limited, or it's a pretty dodgy market, or that there's just not the sort of desire in the market for what's actually being sold, then it doesn't matter how good you are at selling, you're just going to be capped no matter what. Now, we go into high ticket sales to remove that commission cap that we're used to in our traditional roles. So when we get into something like this, we don't want to be capped. And I'm sure that you do not want to be limited in the role that you're in as well, especially if you are investing into something to make that pivot, or you've invested in sales training or whatever it might be. You want to make sure that the vehicle that you're in is going to take you to the speed that you want to go at and to the effectiveness and to the outcomes that you actually want. So it doesn't matter if you want 10, 20, 30K a month, if your vehicle doesn't let you hit those marks or even hit OTE that is the amount that you want to make or exceed that, you're not going to do it. Doesn't matter how good you are at selling. So the vehicle is still more important than skill alone. And a lot of the time, being in the right vehicle can take somebody who is a 6 out of 10 rep and get them the results that an 8 out of 10 sales rep would get, purely because they're in the right vehicle. And then you might have people that are 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 reps, but they're in a 5 out of 10 vehicle. That's going to bring them down to a 5 out of 10 in terms of the results and the actual income that they get from it. So those key points are so critical for every single person to know. Now, the third and most important thing that I want to mention is right now is still the easiest and most effective time to start remote high ticket sales. So if you're not already in this space, or if you are in this space and you're looking for new roles and new opportunities, right now is by far the easiest possible time to do it. The reason I say this is because it's still a newer industry and it is still a newer space, which means that you have brand new companies that are appearing out of nowhere. You have successful companies that are scaling their sales teams. So the competition right now is it's not crazy competitive because you haven't had a mass migration of people from traditional roles coming into this space. As soon as you have killers in the actual in the real world traditional face-to-face type of sales settings, if you have these killers come into the remote high ticket sales space, they are going to absolutely run amok. They're going to dominate so many people in this industry, and so many people are going to be out of jobs because you have genuine killers and talented, highly successful people coming into this space. So if you front run it and you make the pivot now, you're going to be one of those people that basically takes all of these opportunities away from people that have only been in this space for a short period, or they don't have the skills and experience that you might have. So right now is by far the easiest time. So if you can get in and you can learn the skills and get your experience in the remote space, you are going to be a winner. If you wait and if you keep on putting it off and you don't want to make that pivot, or you're too afraid, or you don't have the certainty you need to be able to make the pivot, it is only going to get harder, and it's going to be inevitable that you have to get into the space. So if you have to get into the space anyway at some point, because we move away from face-to-face sales, it's going to get harder and harder and harder and harder. They'll pick someone younger than you, they'll pick someone better than you, and they're going to pick people that have already been in the space already. That's going to happen more and more and more and more. So it's only going to get harder from here. So that is absolutely critical. And I see so many people putting off that actual pivot to get into the space. And a lot of the time they get left behind and they realize that it only gets harder. So that is the third and final absolutely key point that I wanted to cover as well. So as always, if you have any questions or you do want that closer guidance or expert advice to be able to make the pivot into the space or be able to land better high ticket sales roles, again, link in the description. You can talk to myself and I can obviously give you a bit of background and really help you make those right strategic decisions and help you get into something that is much more earning than what you're currently in right now. You know, we can land you some pretty high OTE roles as well. So if that's something you're interested in, hit the link in the description. If not, go through my other videos and see how much value you can get out of them to hopefully help you make the pivot into remote high ticket sales or be able to land a better role if you're already in the space. So that's it from me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.